Hi everyone, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to demonstrate for you how to do the bead stitch. If you like my crochet tutorials, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This stitch you're going to need to know how to chain, single crochet, and double crochet. Here's an example of the stitch worked up in an 8x8 inch square. It's a very pretty stitch that we do a row of bead stitches with a row of single crochet in between. It's basically very similar to kind of like a sideways puff stitch. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we do this. Make a slip stitch and put the yarn on your hook, and we're just going to chain any even number of chain here. And then for our very first row, we're just going to do a base row of single crochet along this chain. So you will single crochet into the second chain from the hook and every chain across. So here is our completed row of single crochet, and the next row will be a row of bead stitches. So you will start this row by chaining 2 and turning your work. Please note that I do not count my turning chain as a stitch. So I will double crochet into the very first stitch, and then I will begin our bead stitch, and to do that I will double crochet into the next stitch, we'll yarn over, and then take our hook and go between the first and the second double crochet. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over, go back through the same area, yarn over and pull up a loop, second loop, yarn over one more time, go through that hole, yarn over and pull up a loop. So we have pulled up a loop 3 times, yarn over once more, and we're going to pull it through all the loops on the hook except the last one. This is important because this makes our bead stitch stay sideways. Yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on the hook, and that creates our bead stitch. Now we are going to skip the next stitch underneath because a bead stitch actually has the width of 2 stitches, and we'll start our next bead stitch with a double crochet. So working around the double crochet we just made, yarn over, go in between that double crochet and the last bead stitch to pull up your first loop, yarn over, pull up your second loop, yarn over, pull up your third loop, yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook except that very last loop. Yarn over once more and pull through the last 2 loops. Skip the next stitch and begin your next bead stitch. I do find when I work the bead stitch, I kind of hold my material sideways. I just find it's easier. It almost feels like you're making a regular puff stitch. You're just working around the post, but in fact you're working everything kind of sideways. We'll continue making bead stitches along this row. And it's a really nice stitch. After you get the hang of it, it works up very fast. It is a little bit of a yarn eater because it is puff-like stitches, but it does work up relatively fast. So now we're going to work our very last bead stitch, making that double crochet first, pulling up 3 loops. You can definitely see that I can be able to speed up now that I have the hang of it. Pull through all the loops except that last one, yarn over and pull through the loop. And then you'll just skip that last stitch and work a double crochet into the very last stitch. And that will complete your row of bead stitches. So we started this row with a double crochet and we end with a double crochet at the end of this row. So row 3, you're going to chain 1 and simply single crochet in every stitch across. The top of your bead stitch will actually have 2 places to single crochet into. One, which is that double crochet you start with, and the second space is the very end of your bead stitch will give you another space to single crochet into. But you just keep repeating the row of single crochet and the row of bead stitches until the project is as long as you'd like to have it. I really hope you liked today's stitch tutorial. If you did, leave me a comment below and tell me what kind of project you would use this stitch for.